The halls of the United Nations Space Council on Earth were buzzing with tension. Humans had reached the point where they could travel far into space and develop technology that other species only dreamed of. The Galactic Council had been watching them closely for years, and now the time for a decision had come. Captain Ryan Hayes stood near the center of the large room, his uniform pressed and his hands folded behind his back. He had been part of the military for most of his life, but this decision was bigger than any battle he had fought. Beside him, diplomat Olivia Carter shuffled through papers, her brow furrowed in thought. She knew the Council's warnings had been serious. The Council demanded strict oversight of human technology and threatened consequences if humans continued on their independent path. Scientist Daniel Brooks stood near the observation window, staring out at Earth below. He had helped design some of the most advanced technology humans had ever created, and he knew the Council's fears were rooted in truth. Humans were powerful, maybe more powerful than any other species in the galaxy had expected. The meeting began in silence. For a long time, no one spoke. Then Ryan cleared his throat and said, "We have reached the point where we must choose. We cannot allow the Galactic Council to control our progress. They cannot dictate how we live or what we create." His voice was steady, but there was tension in the room. Olivia stepped forward, her hands clasped together. "Ryan, I understand your point, but think about what this means. If we cut ties, we may face consequences we cannot predict. Entire fleets may come against us. Worlds that once traded with us may turn away. Are we ready for that?" Ryan turned to her and shook his head. "We have no choice. Humanity cannot be bound by fear or control. We have reached a stage where we must act on our own. We have the technology, the knowledge, and the courage to stand alone if we must." Daniel Brooks finally spoke, his voice calm but firm. "The Council has always underestimated humans. They fear what they do not understand. But Ryan is right. We cannot allow fear to guide us. This is our chance to step forward and prove that we can survive on our own terms." The room fell silent again. Each leader and advisor considered the weight of the decision. Outside, the city of New York gleamed in the night, a reminder of the human world they were responsible for protecting. The Council had warned them that defiance could trigger war or economic collapse, yet the leaders knew that the alternative, living under alien control, was unacceptable. After hours of debate, the decision was made. Earth would formally cut all ties with the Galactic Council. The announcement would be sent to every known system in the galaxy. Humanity would no longer follow the Council's rules or answer to its oversight. The room felt heavy with both fear and resolve. Olivia Carter took a deep breath and began drafting the official statement. Ryan Hayes reviewed the defensive plans and Daniel Brooks prepared contingency measures. Every detail mattered. As the official message was broadcast across the stars, alien envoys received it with shock and confusion. Some could not believe that a single planet would take such a bold step. Others feared what this defiance might mean for the balance of power in the galaxy. On distant worlds, governments convened emergency meetings. Entire star systems debated what action to take. Would humans be punished for their independence, or would they prove to be a force that could not be controlled? On Earth, the reaction was different. Citizens were informed of the decision and the reasons behind it. There was a mixture of fear and excitement. People understood that the move was risky, but many felt pride in their leader's courage. Across the world, families gathered to watch the broadcasts and discuss what the future might hold. Scientists and engineers continued their work, preparing for any challenge the universe might throw at them. Ryan Hayes moved through the control room of Earth's orbital defense station, checking every system personally. The human fleet was smaller than the Council's forces, but it was advanced and designed with ingenuity that other species had not yet matched. He knew that if conflict came, humans would have to rely on both strategy and creativity. "We can't just hope for the best," he told his officers. "We have to be ready for anything. Our survival depends on it." Meanwhile, Olivia Carter met with representatives of neutral alien species who had not taken sides. She wanted to prevent immediate conflict and show that humanity's goal was not destruction, but independence. "We are not reckless," she explained. "We seek to live as free beings. If other species wish to cooperate, we welcome it. If they seek war, we will defend ourselves." Some listened carefully, others were skeptical, but every conversation mattered. Daniel Brooks worked late into the night in the laboratories beneath the city. He studied alien technology they had captured in past encounters, looking for ways to strengthen human defenses and improve communications. He understood that knowledge and innovation were humanity's greatest strengths. As he adjusted a prototype energy shield, he thought about the countless generations of humans who had survived against impossible odds. Humanity had always found a way, and he believed they would again. The first signs of panic in the galaxy began almost immediately. Star systems that depended on Earth for trade and technology started to worry about instability. Markets fluctuated, fleets shifted positions, and secret meetings were held in hidden corners of space. The universe had never seen a single planet take such a bold stance against the Galactic Council. The ripple effects were felt everywhere, and many began to question what would come next. On Earth, the leadership team gathered for one last briefing before the official broadcast. Ryan, Olivia, and Daniel stood together, facing the main screen that showed the galactic map. "The galaxy will react," Ryan said quietly. "Some will fear us, some will envy us, and some may try to challenge us. But we have made our choice. There is no turning back," Olivia nodded. "We must be careful, but we must also be confident. Humans have survived because we face challenges directly. We cannot let fear control our future." Daniel looked at them both and smiled faintly. "Then let's show them what humanity is capable of." As the broadcast went live, the message was simple and clear. Earth was independent. Humanity would no longer answer to the Galactic Council. The universe would have to adjust to a new reality. Ships across the stars paused to receive the transmission, and for the first time, many species realized that humans were not like them. They were unpredictable, determined, and willing to stand alone. The moment marked the beginning of a new era. Earth had taken a risk that no other planet had dared. Panic and uncertainty spread across distant systems, but humans watched with a mixture of anxiety and pride. They knew the road ahead would not be easy, but they had chosen their path. Captain Ryan Hayes, diplomat Olivia Carter, and scientist Daniel Brooks looked out at the stars, ready to face whatever came next. Humanity had spoken. The universe had heard, and the first tremors of change had begun. The news of Earth cutting ties with the Galactic Council spread across the stars faster than anyone had imagined. Ships in distant systems stopped to intercept the transmission, alien ambassadors debated in council halls, and markets in far-off planets shook with uncertainty. On the planet Vorlan, Ambassador Lila Grant paced the floor of her government chamber. She had worked closely with humans in the past, and now she could not believe what she was seeing. "If they act alone," she said to her advisors, "the balance of power could collapse. Entire trade routes, entire alliances. Everything could change in an instant," her advisors murmured, worried and unsure. The galaxy had never faced a species so bold, so unafraid. Humans were unpredictable, and that made everyone nervous. Back on Earth, Captain Ryan Hayes stood on the deck of the Orbital Defense Station. He watched the night sky filled with countless stars and distant ships moving silently in the void. "They are watching us," he said to Olivia Carter, who was beside him, her arms folded. "Every system wants to see what we will do next. Some want to fight, others just want to know if we can survive." Olivia nodded slowly. "We have to be careful. Panic spreads fast, and fear can turn allies into enemies." They had expected some reaction from the Galactic Council, but the scale of concern was far greater than they imagined. Fleets across several systems had shifted positions, signaling readiness for any potential conflict. Meanwhile, scientist Daniel Brooks worked in one of the largest laboratories on Earth. He monitored energy signatures from distant space and tested new defensive technologies. The Council's fleets were powerful, but human ingenuity gave them hope. He adjusted the calibration of an energy shield prototype and ran simulations. Every test confirmed the same thing. Humans could survive against odds that other species would not dare face. Daniel leaned back in his chair and looked at the stars. "They fear us," he muttered. "Not because we are weak, but because they know we can rise against them." Trade stations and colonies in nearby systems began to experience ripple effects from Earth's decision. Supplies that had relied on Earth-based technology became uncertain, and some species began stockpiling resources. On the planet Saren, Merchant Captain Alex Harper sighed as he watched the flow of data from Earth. "This is going to be chaos," he told his crew. "Humans have just changed the rules. Everything we knew is about to be different." His crew nodded silently. Fear and curiosity mixed in the air, and no one could predict what would happen next. Not all reactions were negative. Some alien species were fascinated by humanity's courage. On a small, icy planet on the edge of explored space, Ambassador Mira Lewis held a private meeting with her council. "Humans are bold," she said. "They have something we cannot measure easily. They are unpredictable, creative, and they do not follow the rules the council has made for everyone. Perhaps we should observe and learn before we decide to act." Her advisors whispered agreement, though some were still cautious. Across the galaxy, curiosity and fear blended together. On Earth, life continued in parallel with these galactic developments. Citizens were aware of the situation, and while some worried about the consequences, others felt a strange pride in their leaders. Olivia Carter spent her days in meetings with neutral alien representatives who were willing to listen. She explained that humans were not seeking war but independence. "We do not want to dominate," she said. "We only want to live as free beings and make our own choices. If you are willing to cooperate, we welcome it. If not, we will defend ourselves." Many listened carefully, but some were skeptical. Olivia knew that patience and careful negotiation were as important as military strength. Ryan Hayes worked tirelessly with the Earth fleet, inspecting ships and reviewing tactical plans. He drilled his officers, ensuring that every crew member knew their role in case of attack. "We cannot rely on luck," he said. "We must be ready for every possible scenario. The Council will test us. Other species may test us too, and we have to be ready." The fleet moved through orbital paths with precision, a silent warning to anyone who considered aggression. Daniel Brooks continued his work, developing new defenses that could withstand even the most advanced attacks. Across the galaxy, whispers of fear and curiosity became louder. Some planets debated forming alliances with humans, hoping that early cooperation would benefit them in the new galactic order. Others prepared for potential conflict, unsure of what Earth's independence truly meant. Alien fleets were deployed to border systems, and secret councils convened in hidden locations. The universe was shifting and no one knew which way it would fall. Back on Earth, Ryan, Olivia, and Daniel gathered late one night in the observation deck of the defense station. The room was quiet, filled only with the soft hum of equipment. Ryan pointed toward the stars. "They are watching. Every decision we make now will be noticed. Some will admire us, some will fear us, and some may try to challenge us." Olivia nodded. "We cannot predict every reaction, but we can control our actions. We have to show them that humans are strong, clever, and willing to protect themselves without starting wars unnecessarily." Daniel smiled faintly. "We have survived worse. Humans always find a way. This is just another challenge, and we are ready for it." The first signs of direct confrontation appeared when a small alien reconnaissance fleet approached the edge of Earth's system. Ryan ordered the human ships to intercept cautiously. No weapons were fired, but the display of readiness sent a clear message. Humans were not weak. They were prepared to defend themselves. The alien fleet pulled back, sending a message of acknowledgement. Across the universe, other species began to take note. Humanity's defiance was not reckless. It was deliberate, calculated, and effective. Life on Earth continued, even as the galaxy around them reacted. Citizens went to work, children attended schools, and scientists worked in laboratories. People were aware of the risk, but they trusted their leaders. Ryan Hayes, Olivia Carter, and Daniel Brooks became symbols of human courage and resilience. Their decisions were not easy, and every day brought new challenges. But humanity was holding its ground. In secret corners of the galaxy, rival species debated what Earth's independence meant for them. Some feared trade disruption, some feared military confrontation, and others were simply fascinated by humans' determination. The universe was beginning to understand that humans were different. They did not rely on tradition, fear, or hierarchy. They relied on creativity, courage, and a willingness to take risks. This unpredictability made them both dangerous and intriguing to other species. On Earth, as the sun set over the oceans, Ryan Hayes stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The lights reflected in the water, and the hum of human activity filled the air. "The universe is changing," he said softly to Olivia, who stood beside him. "Some will panic, some will prepare, and some may try to challenge us. But we are ready. Humanity has always survived, and we will survive this too." Olivia smiled. "We have taken the first step. Now we have to walk the path carefully and wisely. The galaxy is watching, and our actions will set the tone for the future." Daniel Brooks joined them, looking up at the stars. We have shown them that humans cannot be controlled. That alone will make others think twice before trying to challenge us. But we cannot stop here. We must continue to innovate, to protect ourselves, and to prove that independence does not mean chaos. And so, Earth continued to hold its ground. The galaxy was in panic, curiosity, and awe. Fleets shifted, trade networks paused, and secret alliances formed. But humanity remained calm, focused, and determined. They had made their choice, and they were prepared to face the consequences. For the first time in history, a single planet had changed the course of the universe simply by deciding to stand alone. The stars above seemed both threatening and full of possibility, and humans were ready to meet them with courage and resolve. The galaxy had begun to tremble, but Earth was steady. Humanity had sent a clear message. They would walk their own path no matter the cost. And in that determination they found strength, pride, and hope. The universe would never be the same again. Earth faced its first real tests after cutting ties with the Galactic Council. Captain Ryan Hayes moved swiftly through the control room of the Orbital Defense Station, checking every system, every alert, and every communication channel. Alien fleets had begun probing the edges of Earth's system, testing defenses and scanning for weaknesses. Ryan knew they were powerful, but humans had something the Council could never fully predict: ingenuity. "We need to be ready for anything," he said to his officers. "Every move we make will be watched. We have to prove that we can defend ourselves." Scientist Daniel Brooks worked alongside his team in the laboratories, analyzing alien energy signatures and improving Earth's defensive technology. New shields were developed that could absorb energy blasts far stronger than anything humans had faced before. Daniel tested each system repeatedly, adjusting calibrations and running simulations. He often stayed late into the night, determined to ensure that Earth could withstand any attack. "They will try to push us," he said to his assistant, "but we will be ready. Humans have survived worse, and we always find a way." Diplomat Olivia Carter spent her time in a quieter but equally important battle. She met with alien representatives from neutral systems, explaining humanity's position and offering cooperation without surrender. "We do not seek war," she said in one meeting. "We only seek independence. If you wish to work with us, we welcome it. If not, we will defend ourselves. But know that humans are not reckless. We plan carefully and act decisively." Some representatives were impressed, some cautious, and some openly skeptical. Yet Olivia knew that every conversation mattered. The universe was watching, and perception could be as important as force. The first real confrontation occurred when a small council fleet attempted to blockade Earth's orbital stations. The ships were larger and more advanced than anything humans had built, but Ryan Hayes commanded the fleet with confidence. Human ships moved with precision, coordinated maneuvers, and unexpected tactics. They avoided direct confrontations where possible, focusing on positioning and strategic defense. Daniel Brooks's energy shields absorbed the initial blasts, while the human fleet responded with careful countermeasures. The Council fleet eventually pulled back, leaving a clear message. Humans were not easy to intimidate. Across the galaxy, news of the encounter spread quickly, and many species began to take note. On Earth, citizens followed the news closely. Schools, workplaces, and homes watched broadcasts and read updates on digital networks. People felt fear but also pride. They understood that their leaders were taking enormous risks, but they also saw that humans were capable of extraordinary courage and cleverness. Ryan Hayes became a symbol of that courage, Daniel Brooks of ingenuity, and Olivia Carter of careful diplomacy. Together they represented the strength of a species willing to stand alone against a galaxy that doubted them. Beyond the immediate threats, the tests were also moral and strategic. Humanity faced difficult decisions about how to respond to minor provocations, whether to launch preemptive defenses, and how much risk to take. Ryan consulted with his officers and advisors, weighing each choice carefully. "We cannot act recklessly," he said, "but we also cannot show weakness. Every action sends a message. We must survive, and we must demonstrate that humans are not afraid to defend themselves." Daniel Brooks discovered hidden weaknesses in the Council's technology through captured data and careful analysis. He shared his findings with Ryan, allowing the fleet to anticipate possible attacks and respond effectively. "They will not expect this," Daniel said. "Humans think differently. We improvise, adapt, and find solutions in ways they cannot predict." This knowledge gave the leadership team confidence, but they remained cautious. The council was powerful, and any mistake could have catastrophic consequences. Meanwhile, Olivia Carter continued her diplomatic efforts, seeking alliances with alien factions that were curious about humanity's independence. On the planet Varos, she met with Ambassador Juno Lee, who had once been a neutral observer of human technology. "Humans are bold," Juno said. "They are not reckless, but they are unpredictable. Perhaps they will change the balance of power in the galaxy. We should observe them closely and consider cooperation before conflict arises." Olivia nodded. "That is all we ask. We seek peace, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. Humanity's strength lies not in domination, but in creativity and determination." The tests continued when a more aggressive fleet approached Earth's outer stations. Ryan led the defense with calm precision. Human ships used clever maneuvers to divide and confuse the enemy. They avoided unnecessary losses while demonstrating capability. Daniel's energy shields protected key stations, and Olivia coordinated communications to prevent misunderstandings with neutral observers. By the end of the encounter, Earth's fleet had repelled the intruders without significant damage. News of this victory spread quickly, reinforcing the idea that humans were not only capable of standing alone, but could also outthink stronger adversaries. Even as the defensive battles occurred, human scientists worked on technology that could help prevent future conflicts. Daniel Brooks and his team experimented with communication devices capable of transmitting signals across vast distances faster than conventional methods. They developed sensors to detect incoming fleets long before they arrived, and advanced energy shields that could adapt to different types of weapons. Humanity's survival depended on both clever technology and quick thinking, and every new advancement gave the leaders more confidence. Throughout these trials, Earth's leadership maintained a steady focus. Ryan Hayes emphasized discipline and preparation. Olivia Carter emphasized careful negotiation and perception, and Daniel Brooks emphasized innovation and problem-solving. Together, they formed a system of checks and balances that ensured humanity acted decisively without unnecessary recklessness. Citizens and allies alike began to see that humans were different from other species, not just strong, but intelligent, creative, and willing to act in ways no one expected. The tests also had a psychological impact on humans. People began to take pride in their independence and resilience. Fear was present, but it was balanced by confidence and unity. Children learned about the battles and strategies as part of their education, and stories of human ingenuity circulated widely. Humans were beginning to understand that their strength was not just in weapons or technology, but in their ability to think differently, act boldly, and adapt to unexpected challenges. In the Council's distant chambers, debates raged. Some species believed humans would fail. Others believed they were unstoppable. Council members argued over whether to continue attempts at control, whether to negotiate, or whether to prepare for full-scale conflict. Humanity's unexpected successes forced even seasoned leaders to rethink assumptions. A species that had seemed small and limited suddenly proved to be a force that could not be easily ignored. Back on Earth, Ryan, Olivia, and Daniel gathered for a quiet moment to review their progress. The room was dimly lit, filled with the soft hum of machinery and distant communications from orbit. Ryan looked at the stars and said, "Every test we face makes us stronger. Every challenge shows the universe that humans cannot be controlled." Olivia nodded. "We have to keep our focus. We are proving something important. Independence is not weakness, and intelligence is as powerful as any fleet." Daniel smiled. "We have survived the first tests. There will be more, but we will face them together. Humans always find a way." The first real tests had shown the universe that humanity was ready. Alien fleets had been repelled. Neutral observers had taken notice, and Earth had proven that it could defend itself. The galaxy was beginning to understand that humans were different. They were not reckless, they were not weak, and they could not be controlled. Creativity, courage, and careful strategy were their greatest weapons. As Earth's leaders watched the stars, they knew that the universe would continue to test them. But they also knew that humans had passed the first trials with courage and skill. The message was clear. Humanity could survive, could defend itself, and could stand alone if necessary. And in that knowledge, the people of Earth found confidence, determination, and a sense of pride that no alien threat could take away. The universe had sent its first challenges. Humanity had met them and survived. The tests were far from over, but Earth had already proven something remarkable: that a single planet, when united by courage, intelligence, and determination, could face the galaxy and stand unbroken. As the days passed, Earth's leaders began to uncover secrets that changed their understanding of the universe. Scientist Daniel Brooks was reviewing data captured from alien research stations when he stumbled across something remarkable. Ancient transmissions hidden deep in space suggested that humans had always been different from other species. The data described civilizations that had failed in the past, destroyed by their own weaknesses, and it hinted that humans were uniquely capable of surviving challenges that no one else could endure. Daniel shared the findings with Captain Ryan Hayes and diplomat Olivia Carter in a quiet briefing room. "This is important," Daniel said, pointing to the screens. "The Council knew humans were different. They tried to control us because they feared what we could do. They never expected us to step away." Ryan leaned back in his chair, his eyes fixed on the glowing screens. "If this is true, it explains a lot. Their warnings, their oversight, their fleets. It wasn't just politics. They feared humanity because they knew we could survive and even thrive in ways they could not predict." Olivia nodded slowly. "We have to be careful. This information gives us an advantage, but it also makes the Council more dangerous. They may act out of fear, and we need to be ready." Using the knowledge from the transmissions, Daniel began developing strategies that would improve human defenses while avoiding unnecessary conflict. He designed new energy shields, faster communication networks, and adaptive weapon systems. Each advancement made Earth's position stronger and more secure. Ryan worked closely with the fleet, running simulations and planning maneuvers that took advantage of these discoveries. Olivia, meanwhile, used the information to strengthen diplomatic discussions with alien factions who were undecided about humanity's independence. "Humans are not reckless," she told them. "We are cautious, clever, and prepared. You can trust that we will act responsibly, but we will not be controlled." The revelation about human uniqueness also had an impact on Earth's citizens. Schools incorporated the knowledge into lessons, emphasizing that humans had survived countless challenges and had a remarkable ability to adapt. Families discussed the discoveries with pride, and the stories inspired confidence in a future that now seemed full of possibilities. People understood that humanity's independence was not just about defiance, but about survival, innovation, and the courage to face the unknown. In the outer systems, whispers of this discovery began to spread. Alien species that had been skeptical of humans now started to watch them more closely. Some feared that humans might become a dominant force in the galaxy, while others were curious about what made humans so resilient. On the planet Varos, Ambassador Juno Lee convened her council to discuss Earth's latest developments. "They are not just strong," Juno said. "They are clever and adaptable. If we underestimate them, we may regret it. Perhaps we should consider cooperation before we act against them." Her advisors debated cautiously, realizing that humanity's independence had already shifted the balance of power in subtle but important ways. Despite the attention and concern from other species, Earth continued to focus on its own growth. Ryan Hayes led the fleet through extended exercises, improving coordination and testing new tactics. Daniel Brooks oversaw the final stages of energy shield deployment and the construction of advanced sensor networks. Olivia Carter maintained careful diplomatic channels, ensuring that neutral systems understood humanity's intentions and saw them as a responsible and independent species. Each day brought new challenges, but humans faced them with a combination of courage, strategy, and creativity that no other species could match. The first large-scale test of human ingenuity came when a rogue council fleet attempted to probe Earth's outer defenses using advanced cloaking technology. Ryan immediately ordered reconnaissance teams to track the fleet. Daniel activated new sensor arrays, capable of detecting even the faintest energy signatures. Human ships moved in precise formations, anticipating the enemy's moves. The cloaked fleet was forced to reveal itself as it approached the outer stations, and the humans successfully repelled the intrusion without firing a single destructive shot. The demonstration of skill and intelligence sent ripples across the galaxy. Alien species began to rethink their assumptions about humans. Olivia Carter used the event to further strengthen diplomatic ties. She contacted neutral factions and shared the story, emphasizing that humans could defend themselves without unnecessary aggression. "This is proof that independence does not equal recklessness," she said in one broadcast. "We act with intelligence, strategy, and responsibility. We are not a threat to those who respect our freedom, but we will defend ourselves if provoked." Slowly, trust began to grow among alien species who had once feared humanity. At the same time, Earth's leaders continued to prepare for potential threats. Daniel Brooks focused on research that combined alien technology with human ingenuity, creating systems that no other species had developed. Ryan Hayes trained his fleet to use these systems efficiently, emphasizing teamwork, communication, and adaptability. Olivia Carter worked with diplomats to maintain transparency while preserving Earth's independence. The combination of science, strategy, and diplomacy allowed humans to act with confidence and foresight. The Council, however, was not idle. Members debated how to respond to humans' growing capabilities. Some wanted to take aggressive action, fearing that allowing humanity to expand independently could destabilize the galaxy. Others argued that negotiation and caution were wiser, recognizing that humans were not reckless and that conflict could be costly. The internal debate highlighted a central truth: humans were no longer a species that could be easily controlled or ignored. On Earth, the revelation about humanity's resilience inspired both leaders and citizens. Ryan Hayes reflected on the first steps humans had taken to protect themselves. "We have learned something important," he said to Olivia and Daniel one evening. "Humans are capable of more than we imagined. Every challenge makes us stronger. Every test proves that we can survive, adapt, and thrive." Olivia smiled. "We have shown the galaxy that independence does not mean chaos. Humans act with intelligence and purpose. That is why they will respect us more over time." Daniel nodded. "And that respect will keep us safe. Knowledge and strategy are our greatest weapons, even more than firepower." The tests and revelations continued over the next few weeks. Alien fleets observed Earth from a distance, curious and cautious. Neutral species began tentative cooperation with humans, offering resources, technology, and knowledge in exchange for trust. Earth's leaders accepted these offers carefully, always maintaining independence and security. Humanity's position in the galaxy was changing. The universe was beginning to recognize that humans were unlike any other species, a combination of intelligence, creativity, courage, and resilience that could not be matched or easily controlled. As the days turned into weeks, Ryan Hayes, Olivia Carter, and Daniel Brooks met frequently to plan for the future. Each decision was carefully weighed, each strategy tested. They knew that more challenges would come, but they were ready. Humans had survived the first wave of tests, and now they were prepared for the next stage. The universe had begun to acknowledge humanity's uniqueness, and Earth had gained allies who respected their independence. The stars above Earth seemed brighter than ever, filled with both danger and possibility. Ryan looked out at the endless expanse and said, "We are not alone in this universe, but we can stand alone if we have to. That is the strength of humanity. We face the unknown, we adapt, and we survive." Olivia nodded. "And in facing the unknown, we have begun to change how the galaxy sees us. Humans are not just a planet. We are a force to be respected and perhaps even admired." Daniel added quietly, "We are proving that intelligence, courage, and creativity matter more than numbers or fleets. That is what sets us apart." The revelations had changed everything. Humans understood that they were unique and powerful in ways the Council had feared. The galaxy had begun to take notice. Panic had given way to curiosity, and fear had been tempered by admiration. Earth's leaders knew the path ahead would still be difficult, but they also knew that humanity's potential was greater than anyone had imagined. The universe had begun to see humans as more than just another species. They were survivors, thinkers, and innovators. They could defend themselves, build alliances, and stand alone if necessary. Humanity had passed the tests of courage, intelligence, and strategy, and the galaxy would never look at them the same way again. Earth had changed the rules of the universe simply by daring to step forward and claim its independence. The galaxy had changed, and Earth stood at the center of that change. After years of tension, tests, and revelations, humans had proven that they could survive, innovate, and stand alone. Captain Ryan Hayes moved through the command center of the Orbital Defense Station, his eyes scanning the displays that showed ships, sensors, and distant star systems. The Council had withdrawn most of its fleets from the edges of human space, unsure of how to act against a species that had outsmarted and outmaneuvered them. Ryan knew that caution had replaced fear in their calculations. Humans had earned the right to walk their own path. Diplomat Olivia Carter was busy in another part of the station, coordinating communications with neutral systems and new allies. Several species had begun to offer assistance, sharing technology, resources, and knowledge. They respected humanity's independence and were curious about what could be accomplished with such determination and intelligence. Olivia's careful diplomacy had turned potential threats into tentative partners, and the galaxy was beginning to see humans not as rebels or dangerous upstarts, but as equals capable of shaping their own destiny. Daniel Brooks continued to work on new technological advances. He designed ships that were faster, stronger, and smarter than anything humans had used before. Sensors could detect threats before they arrived, and energy shields could adapt to new types of attacks. Every development made Earth safer and more self-reliant. Daniel often reflected on how far humans had come in just a few years. They had faced fleets, threats, and fear itself, and yet they had survived and thrived. "Humans are remarkable," he said quietly to his assistant. "We can adapt, create, and overcome. Other species may underestimate us, but they cannot ignore us." Even as humans strengthened their defenses, the Galactic Council began to acknowledge that Earth could not be controlled. Delegations arrived on neutral planets, seeking to understand what made humans so different. Some members of the Council were still cautious, but they could not deny the truth. Humanity's intelligence, courage, and ingenuity had reshaped the galaxy's understanding of power. Ryan Hayes reviewed reports showing fleets being redirected, some to patrol borders cautiously, others to open trade channels. The Council's fear of humanity had turned into cautious respect. On Earth, citizens felt the shift as well. Life continued with work, study, and daily routines, but people were more aware of their place in the galaxy. Children learned about the bravery and ingenuity of their leaders. Families discussed the possibility of alliances, trade, and exploration. Humanity's independence had inspired pride and confidence. People understood that the future was theirs to shape. Ryan, Olivia, and Daniel gathered on the observation deck of the defense station, looking out at the stars. Ships moved in calculated patterns, sensors scanned for threats, and communications networks connected Earth with allies across nearby systems. Ryan spoke first. "We have faced the galaxy and survived. We have shown them that humans cannot be controlled or intimidated. But survival is not enough. We must also prove that we can lead, cooperate, and build." Olivia nodded. "We have created the foundation for trust. Species who once feared us now see that we act with intelligence and purpose. If we continue wisely, we can build alliances that strengthen the galaxy, not weaken it." Daniel smiled. "And we have the technology to protect ourselves while we do it. Innovation has always been humanity's strength, and now it will guide our future." The first joint missions with new allies began shortly afterward. Humans worked alongside neutral species to explore uncharted systems, share resources, and study anomalies. Ryan led one of the fleet operations, demonstrating strategy and coordination that impressed even the most skeptical alien commanders. Olivia traveled with a delegation to a neighboring system, negotiating trade agreements and research collaborations. Daniel oversaw the deployment of advanced technology that allowed for safe and efficient travel across vast distances. Humans were no longer isolated. They were central to a growing network of cooperation and respect. Meanwhile, the Council began to reach out in quiet diplomacy. They did not yet fully trust humanity, but they recognized that conflict was not inevitable. Their communications were cautious and respectful, acknowledging that Earth had changed the rules of interstellar relations. Ryan Hayes studied these messages carefully, ensuring that any agreement preserved human independence. Olivia Carter prepared responses that were polite but firm, and Daniel Brooks analyzed any technology exchanges to ensure they were safe. Humanity had learned to balance courage with caution, independence with cooperation. As the weeks passed, humans became recognized as a unique force in the galaxy. They were not the strongest, the fastest, or the largest, but they were clever, adaptable, and unafraid to take risks. Alien species observed how humans combined strategy, diplomacy, and innovation, and many began to emulate aspects of human thinking. The reputation of Earth spread not through fear, but through respect and admiration. Citizens of Earth felt the impact. Schools taught lessons of courage, creativity, and responsibility. Families discussed exploration, diplomacy, and technology with a sense of hope. Humans had become a symbol of what could be achieved when determination and intelligence were combined. Ryan Hayes oversaw a training exercise with both human and alien fleets. The operation involved complex maneuvers, long-distance communications, and rapid adaptation to changing conditions. Human crews demonstrated skill, flexibility, and creative problem-solving. The alien allies watched in amazement as humans coordinated with precision and confidence. After the exercise, one alien commander remarked to Ryan, "Your species is unlike any we have known. You act decisively, but you also think in ways no one else considers. That is why you survived where others failed." Ryan nodded quietly. "We do not rely on strength alone. We rely on intelligence, courage, and cooperation. That is what makes humans unique." Daniel Brooks continued to expand human technology, ensuring that Earth could face any future threat. He developed faster communication systems, more advanced energy shields, and adaptive ships capable of learning from encounters. Every innovation strengthened human independence and offered opportunities for cooperation with allies. Olivia Carter worked tirelessly to maintain diplomatic relationships, building trust and understanding across multiple systems. Her efforts ensured that humans were not seen as rebels or threats, but as equals capable of contributing to the galaxy's stability and progress. Over time, the Galactic Council accepted that Earth's independence was permanent. They began to engage in dialogue with humans as equals, negotiating agreements on trade, research, and exploration. Ryan, Olivia, and Daniel participated in these discussions, ensuring that humanity's freedom remained intact. They had faced the galaxy's test and emerged stronger, wiser, and more respected. Humanity had changed the rules of interstellar diplomacy forever. The final test was not military or technological, but moral. Humans had the choice to act selfishly or responsibly as they expanded their influence. Ryan, Olivia, and Daniel guided humanity toward cooperation, fairness, and strategic thinking. They understood that true strength was not just surviving, but setting an example for others. Humanity's actions inspired trust, collaboration, and admiration across the stars. One evening, the three leaders stood together on the observation deck, looking at the stars that stretched across the galaxy. Ships from allied species moved through space, trading goods, exploring new systems, and sharing knowledge. Ryan spoke softly. "We have done more than survive. We have earned respect, built alliances, and shown the universe that humans can lead as well as defend." Olivia smiled. "We have changed the way the galaxy sees us. Independence does not mean isolation. It can mean cooperation, creativity, and progress." Daniel added, "And we will continue to innovate, explore, and protect ourselves. That is what makes humanity strong, and that is what will guide our future." Earth had walked a path that no other planet had dared. Humans had faced fleets, uncertainty, and the fear of the unknown, and yet they had emerged proud, capable, and independent. The universe had witnessed their courage, intelligence, and creativity, and it had begun to respect them. Humanity had become a force that could not be ignored, controlled, or underestimated. As the galaxy settled into a new order, humans celebrated their achievements without arrogance. They had earned a place among the stars not through conquest, but through ingenuity, courage, and moral strength. Captain Ryan Hayes, diplomat Olivia Carter, and scientist Daniel Brooks had led humanity through the greatest challenges it had ever faced, and their leadership had ensured a future filled with possibility, respect, and hope. Earth had cut ties with the Council and faced the universe alone, but in doing so, it had changed everything. Humans had proven that they could survive, thrive, and inspire. The galaxy would never be the same again, and humanity's path was clear, independent, courageous, and full of potential. The stars above were no longer a threat, but a landscape of opportunity, and humans were ready to explore, create, and lead with wisdom, strength, and determination.